See, Brian is hard at it. He's back there feeding his face. Do you know what today is, Brian?
First day I had breakfast in about 2 weeks.
You lie, man. You're lying. First time you had breakfast in 2 weeks. Oh, man. Today...
No log day.
No paper log day. Yeehaw! As you're driving down the road, you're pulling a reefer. You can actually check the function of your reefer while you're driving. If you look in your left rear view mirror, you can see the corner of the trailer. About 3/4 up on the corner of the trailer will be a marking. If it's a Thermo King trailer, it will have a T. If the T is lit up white, the reefer is running properly. If the T is turned to orange, that means the reefer is throwing a fault code and you need to pull over and check it. Although I did a pre-trip on the trailer this morning, our product is at 33 degrees and our trailer temp set is at 33 degrees and our reefer is running with no fault codes. Now this is a Thermo King trailer. If you're pulling a carrier doesn't have a T. It just has a great big LED square light sitting there. If it's green, it's operating properly. If it's amber, it's throwing a code. Now sometimes, and generally when a reefer trailer, especially a Thermo King, you'll see it start throwing a code. It'll go orange on you. And you get out, turn it off, turn it back on, it goes to white. You go running down the road about 5 miles, it'll turn back to amber. And you start fighting this battle. 9 times out of 10, what the cause of that will be is a wire broke off of the fuel sensor that says how much fuel is in the gas tank, well, in the diesel tank underneath the reefer trailer. Whenever it's throwing fault codes like that, you can turn the reefer off and restart it. You can also, there's a button on the panel to do a pre-trip inspection on the reefer to make sure everything is functioning properly. There's also a menu button that you can hit and actually look at the individual fault codes and see why it is throwing a fault code. And if it's not something that you can remedy yourself, you call the shop and let them know that your reefer is throwing a fault code. That reefer trailer is actually connected via the internet to our shop back in Fargo, North Dakota. The trailer tech can actually look up on the computer and see what's going on your reefer, no matter where you are in the United States. You know, to continue what I was talking about, your reefer back there, sometimes when you show up at a receiver, and if you show up at the receiver and your indication panel back there is flashing orange to show that your reefer is throwing a code, sometimes the guard shack guard will not let you on the property with a reefer that's throwing a code to unload your product. And a lot of times those codes are being thrown just by a little sensor. You look at the temperature and your temperature of your product's good. It's all good. You haven't lost your load. You haven't damaged the load in any way. It's just a sensor on your reefer trailer that's throwing that code. Well, what you'll find is right before you get to the guard shack, if you'll jump out, go back there and turn your reefer off and turn it back on, it'll flash green for the first 3 minutes or so that it's going through its diagnosis so that you can get through the guard check so he lets you on the property. Once you're on the property and you're backed into a door, if it's throwing a code or not, you don't care. A lot of times your product is going to actually have a sensor that they put on it. It's a temperature data sensor that actually records time and temperature of all your product during the entire course of transport. And when they unload your trailer, the first thing they do is they grab that little temperature sensor off of their product and they look at it to make sure that that product was not spoiled in transit. So you basically got a full class on what it is to drag a reefer, man. Do you feel educated? You know what to do now?
Yeah.
Are you just playing with my emotions or what there, Brian?
Yeah.
Brian, Mr. Excitement. One of the things that we just covered, we've been having emails going back and forth this morning with our safety department here at Magnum. As a driver for Magnum, the safety department releases these little videos. They're about 15 to 30 minutes worth of videos, and they're little safety videos, and they'll have a little questionnaire at the end of it to just make sure that you actually watch the video. So that as a driver, once that you've completed watching your monthly training safety videos for the month, and you took the little test at the end of it, that it notes that you watched your training videos for the month, and on your next week's paycheck you get a little $50 bonus because you watched the videos. It's an easy way to make 50 bucks. And Brian was just curious if while he's in training here on the training truck, if he was to watch the videos, would he get his $50 bonus on his check? And I just got an email from Bryce confirming that yes, all trainees are set up on the training videos as well. So if you watch those videos, you'll get a little $50 bonus on your check next week. Pretty cool, huh? It's a nice thing about Magnum. They actually, anything they ask you to do, they actually pay you for it. Me and Brian were just tootling along here talking about my CB radio. See, I run an old Cobra 29 LTD Classic with an aesthetic mic on it. It's a good old basic radio. You can pick them up for about 119 bucks. They're a good solid radio, do everything you want it to do. Now that one hadn't been modified or anything. I did have it tuned up and tuned, so I got about 40 bucks in the tune-up on it. One of the things is, if you buy one of those Cobras, one of the first things you want to do is throw away the Cobra mic that goes with it and buy an aesthetic mic like that. The mic is about 40 bucks, and you'll find the radio just works absolutely perfect. But I actually run my radio 24/7. I run it all the time. Now you can see I got the squelch turned up on it, so it's not making any noise. If I turn it down, you'll hear the noise come up. But I just turn it up to where the static is gone on the squelch, and that way we can hear drivers going the other direction. They'll let us know if we've coming up to a backup. You know, if you run your radio all the time, you'll know about a backup 30 minutes before you ever get to it. So you got plenty of time to look on a map, see if there's a way to go around it, save some time. I can't tell you how many times that has caused me, especially like, you know, you'll be driving down the road, like we're on I-70 here, and 24 miles in front of you, there'll be an accident, a fatality. In a fatality accident, they will close down the interstate for hours. And you may end up sitting there in a roadblock, in a traffic jam, for 4 hours parked, waiting for them to clear that accident. Whereas if you were running your radio, you would have known about it in plenty of time to route yourself around it, save yourself a lot of time and a lot of hassle. It makes life a lot easier. Well, we were also talking about the fact that, you know, a lot of the new guys coming out here, they don't actually run a radio. You know, they do everything on their phone. So they don't actually communicate with the drivers immediately around them. And even the old timers these days that are still running radios 24/7, a lot of times they don't have it on. Or we refer to it as a backup radio. The only time they turn it on is when they come to the backup to find out which lane is open. But a radio is handy for a lot of different things, and it can definitely save your day. One of the, even, you know, backing in at a truck stop. A lot of times whenever you're backing in, if a guy's got a radio, he'll be spotting you on the radio on your blind side. But if you don't have your radio and you don't have a radio on, you'd never know that. There's a lot of good uses for a radio. Now, back in the day, I remember in the 80s, late at night, we'd all just drive down the road having conversations, keeping each other company. And every once in a while, still to this day, you know, me and another guy will be running the same direction for hours, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll just be having a conversation back and forth. Then you'll come up to an exit and he'll say, well, brother, this is where I get off. I'm going to go eastbound from here. Say, yeah, brother, you have a good, safe trip. God bless you and all that good stuff. We'll catch you again someday. And they always come back and they go, man, I really enjoyed having this conversation. It remembered me of back in the day. We still do it from time to time. So, you guys get out here. You're new to trucking. Get you a good radio. This Cobra that I've got up here, I think that's the 4th one I've had in my lifetime. It's a good basic radio. I've got her tuned up. She'll reach out about 8 miles on a good day. I got the squelch turned up right now. I can hear about 2 miles in every direction. I've even had people pull up beside me going, hey dude, I got a tire going flat on your trailer, or this, that, and the other. Man, turn your radios on. Let's talk to each other. Let's help each other out here. You know, I've heard horror stories about some guys talking about when they're going through training that their trainers wouldn't stop whenever they need to go to the restroom and simple things like that. What are you talking about pointing at me? No, you can't go to the potty. But if you need to go to the restroom, just say, hey man, I need to stop at the restroom. And we can look on Trucker Path and see which the next available truck stop or rest area. Just had that come up because we need the facilities. Look on Trucker Path, and next rest area is up here in 10 miles. We're about 7 miles away from there now. We'll stop, take a little break, go see a man about a horse. Coming to a stop here in the rest area. Looks like one of these spots here on the left will be the closest to the facilities. Come to a stop, truck in neutral. Hit your brakes. Hit your clock. There it is. Go off duty. Hit OK. It's just telling you GPS is lost. Okay. Off duty. Okay. You're off duty. Go do what you got to do. Or our nice pretty Magnum truck is looking pretty filthy there, man. Got mud slung all up on the trailer. Got dirty tires. Bang, where are you going? Anyway, our nice pretty truck is all dirty. I think our truck wash is in order. We'll stop somewhere. We got a blue beacon available today, we'll wash it. If not, we'll get her done tomorrow. Can't be driving around no dirty truck. Look at that, man. Bugs all over our chrome. Bugs up here. Look at the bugs on top of that truck. Looking fucking filthy, man. Can't be riding around no filthy truck. Look, guys, Brian has returned.
Yep.
Mission accomplished.
Yep, successful.
Yeehaw, the finer things in life, right? So we're getting ready to start rolling again. Watching every minute of our clock. Grab you a water, man. It's always something. Get your seatbelt on, everything ready to roll. Do a full 360 visually through your mirrors. Make sure you ain't got nothing leaning against the truck or nothing before you start taking off.
Make sure your sunglasses are clean.
Yeah, make sure the sunglasses are clean. Get everything done. And you say when you're ready, then we want to start our clock. We're going to start our clock, release the brakes, put her in gear. But we're not going to touch that clock until we're ready to roll. You know, I started this video because I thought you were going to jump in here, hit your clock, hit your brakes, put it in gear and roll. I didn't know you were going to piddle fart around for 3 or 4 minutes.
That's what I did.
I'm noticing that.
Good.
Brian is all about using that full 3 hours of break during his day. Okay, hit the clock. Nope, clock first. Go to driving. Okay. Release your brakes, put it in gear and roll. Yeehaw, we're off and rolling. Wow, he's even gonna avoid tearing the hood off that Warner truck next to us. He'll appreciate that. And we are off and rolling. Let's giddy up, let's go. Okay, this is a prime example of why a man needs to actually look at an atlas and know his entire route before he hauls a load. We have turned off of I-70 here in Dayton, Ohio. We're taking 75 south. Now, if you followed your GPS, that GPS, just like all of them, they have glitches. This one here is actually a Peterbilt co-pilot touchscreen in-dash navigation. I think it's actually licensed by Peterbilt from Garmin. It's either Garmin or Rand McNally, one of the two. But if you follow that GPS through Dayton, Ohio, it will tell you to turn off of 75 South onto an expressway. And then it'll take you down a couple miles and it'll tell you to turn off the expressway onto a secondary road. And that secondary road will take you down through the barrio, a residential area where a tractor trailer should never go. This is the reason why you need to know your route. We're actually going to take 75 South all the way past downtown till we get to Highway 35, State Highway 35. We're going to take it to the southeast and follow it all the way out of Dayton, Ohio. This is the reason why you need to know your route and not just follow a GPS. There's another little warning for you, Brian. You see you're on 35 East. Looks just like an interstate, right? Well, the further that you get towards the edge of the city here, you're gonna find this road gets narrower and narrower until it drops down to a 2-lane. And not only will it drop down to a 2-lane, but be prepared for a traffic light where you actually stop on the highway. We don't run into the back of a traffic jam. Very common. There's a couple of traffic lights on this road up ahead. See, just to prove to you, I wasn't kidding you. I was telling you the true skinny man. I wasn't just putting the fear into you. A stoplight right in the middle of a highway.